Texas?
Yeah, it meant a lot to me, especially because of the stuff I've been through recently, and just battling back. It just kind of solidified the things that I believed in, and hard work always pays off. And just seeing that, and then also playing well, and in such a game like that was very rewarding.
Jacob, I haven't had a chance to talk to you since that game. You got that sack late
Mm-hmm.
in the drive that Texas scored the field goal. Can you walk through that play? Because after the game, Sarkisian talked about how that really kind of changed their mentality of that drive.
Yes, ma'am. Honestly, they were tempo and fast. We're getting the calls in, and the simple play call that we practiced probably 1,000 times. And, as soon as the center went away, the guard came down. I knew I was able to get upfield, recognize it was pass, and he was sitting right there. So, one thing I learned being an older player is you make those routine plays in practice. It always comes in during the game. Don't matter if it's a big play or not. It's rewarding to see your work pay off. So.
Did it? What sort of went through your mind in those moments? I mean, I'm sure you were just reacting to what you were seeing, but to see a play that you had practiced so much, like what goes through your mind in that moment?
To be honest, when plays like that happen, it's kind of like a blank slate. Like you've done it so many times. Mm-hmm. Like when I hit him, I was like, okay, like I've done this before. So you kind of see the celebration. I put the one up because I expect that of myself to make the plays that come to me. Mm-hmm. So it was fun.
You mentioned it. You tweeted about it. Can you take us through what summer was like for you?
Yeah, I can. So got out the spring ball, and I was working on my own. My legs started hurting. And, being a football player, I just thought as a little knot, something like that, go in the training room. Cool. And I was actually doing an internship with Chick-fil-A at the time. So we had flown around and things like that. Everything was fine. I just had a little pain in my leg. And once that was over, I flew back to Notre Dame to see one of my friends graduate. And on that plane ride, I started losing breath, things like that, and coughing up blood. And that's essentially when it started. That day when I landed, I went to the hospital at 3 a.m. by myself because my friends are graduating, so they dropped me off. Doc said I shouldn't be alive. He looked at me straight up and said, "I don't know how you're breathing." He said I'll probably never play football again. And I'm just sitting there by myself in that dark room, just thinking like, wow, I'm coming here to see some old friends and try to do the right thing. And something got taken away from me, but got through that. Everything worked out. And summer-wise, first month and a half, I'm just out here, encouraging the guys, watching, trying to stay positive. Working out at the apartment gym by myself because I'm, not supposed to be, but keeping the lungs up and things like that. So each week it just kind of got more and more and more. And then camp came around. I also couldn't do camp just because I was on the back end of that, and that was hard. Seeing the guys out there balling, and I just couldn't, physically couldn't do it, whether I wanted to or not. So that was rough. But that Tuesday before the first game, I was cleared, and something that allowed me to be able to play so fast was, staying locked in, staying engaged, taking notes, doing everything I would do like I was practicing. And so that just allowed me to do where I'm at today. I'm thankful that I went through it. It allowed me to see the things I need to work on and things that, I'm grateful for. So everything works out.
What was your diagnosis?
I had pulmonary embolisms, a big one in my right, multiple in my left, and then the clot in my leg is where it came from. It traveled into my lungs on the plane.
So if you wouldn't have got on the plane, but it's still going to affect you, right, at some point?
Yeah, so
okay.
I'll backtrack a little bit. I was having shorter breath before the plane ride. The plane ride is when I started coughing up the blood. So that's when I knew something was wrong.
So they think if you're not to the hospital quick enough, one of those blood clots could have, that's
they said,
fatal stuff.
plane rides and blood clots in lungs is like a big no-no. And I was one decision away of either going to a graduation party or going to the hospital. And I decided to go to the hospital. Thank God I did.
Was there any hesitation in you trying to come back and play football again? You heard what the doctor said like that.
The one thing I know is I'm going to trust the doctors that are around me. I especially had a great one at Notre Dame while I was up there. He did a great job. And the ones here when I got back, they monitored me like crazy. They were very cautious of anything. So when he did tell me I was able to go, I was fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to caretake right now? I mean, what medication or
honestly,
program or anything
nothing.
Like that? Really?
I'm completely back to normal. I did blood thinners for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out really well, got cleared up, and by the time I was playing, I was like a regular person again. So I'm thankful I don't have to take no aspirin, none of that, so it's good.
Were you worried about that first flight?
Yeah, I was. It was a little nerve-wracking, but I keep the socks on and stuff just to be safe. So, but I'm doing much better. So.
How does an experience like that change how you view this thing
Yeah,
called football.
it changes everything. You know, I think college football players sometimes might take for granted what they get with all the glim and the glam and, you know, things like that. But just having the game almost taken away from you in a sense that you can't control, it makes you appreciate, you know, the hard practices, the hard lives, the days where you're here for 12 hours a day just because you can't do it. And if you are here doing it, you're not a part of it. So it was really made me appreciate the little things, especially, you know, during that time in the summer when I couldn't, you know, get in there with the guys and grind it out. So that's what I would say.
Do you feel like you're a different guy when you hit the field in games even? Does that change how you are as a player?
I wouldn't say it changed who I am as a player. It made me take a moment a little bit more each game to really appreciate where I'm at. But it also allowed me to know I can, you know, go as hard as I possibly can each play.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that rarely could be your last play. Like I did not know, it didn't cross my mind that I'd get a blood clot at 23 years old or anything like that. That didn't even occur to me. That's why I thought it was a little short of breath. And I thought I had to work out. I was actually running with Drake. When I first started, I was running with Drake Stoops out here conditioning, and I couldn't breathe. And I was like, oh, I'm out of shape.
Gotta go
I'm out
hard,
of shape. So that caused, you know, some other problems because I went so hard through a blood clot. But at the end of the day, it just shows that, you know, no matter what happens, like, it's all going to work towards the good.
Was there any thought of like what caused it or what could cause another one or?
There was definitely some thoughts about it. Honestly, they weren't too sure. Mm-hmm. It's not a family history, so yeah. I mean, it was cleared up with the docs, and then that was the end of that. So.
Wow.